You're right, things are gonna be different. But different doesn't always mean bad. It just means different.
That's Donald Faison's Dr. Turk in the season 4 finale of Scrubs, reassuring Zach Braff's hapless, sensitive JD that change can be a good thing. And it would turn out that he had nothing to worry about because, while season 5 of Scrubs was absolutely going to transform the characters, the story, and the overall tone of the show, everything was going to be alright. In fact, it was going to be perfect. But while we're scrubbing in for this one, why not take a moment to subscribe to the Nerdstalgic channel? Created by Bill Lawrence, Scrubs debuted on NBC in October of 2001. A single-camera sitcom about a group of medical interns and the staff they worked alongside at Sacred Heart Hospital. The show had a top-notch ensemble cast and a unique comedic voice.
Knife range! Practical and safe. Whoa!
It also worked as something of a character drama and was known to mix moments of genuine pathos into its storytelling. Scrubs was an instant hit in the ratings, and with the exception of its widely disliked 9th and final season, which you can hear all about in our video on how the Scrubs spinoff failed in a single strange season, it would always remain a great show. After season 4, Scrubs was syndicated for local markets, allowing every episode to earn what Lawrence would later describe as a ton of money for the studio that produced it. And while Lawrence has never said as much, it's easy to imagine that the show's tremendous financial success, combined with its overwhelming critical success, gave the writers the freedom and confidence to get even more creative with the show's elements. Whatever the case, from there on out, the series went on a bit of a tear, and season 5 would carry Scrubs to new heights. As implied in the final moments of season 4, 5 would be all about change, starting with the overall tone of the show, which is to say, in season 5, the comedy got sillier.
It's like they've been watching our lives and then just put it on TV.
This increased sense of playfulness absolutely permeates all of the episodes in the season. And before it's over, the series produces some of its most memorable sight gags, including bits where JD explodes a soda in Dr. Cox's car, Dr. Kelso attempts to blend into a mural, and JD's floating head performs karaoke with Dr. Kim Briggs. At the same time, the emotional moments of season 5 hit harder. No doubt, Scrubs has done fantastic dramatic episodes in the past. Season 3's Emmy-winning tearjerker, My Screw Up, is a perennial candidate for the show's best episode. But Season 5 found a way to make that level of drama a part of Scrubs' DNA, which was no small feat for a series that was primarily known for its oddball humor and slapstick comedy.
You bested me again, you little chocolate bitch.
These extreme tonal shifts combined with a more frequent use of cutaway gags and fantasy sequences could have made for a rough viewing experience, but not only did Scrubs blend it all seamlessly, the series actually got better for it. In fact, season 5 arguably marks the emergence of the style people now most associate with Scrubs.
Eagle!
And nothing exemplifies this new experimental spirit better than episode 7, My Way Home, which is a brilliant homage to the Wizard of Oz.
So, how was the zoo?
It was awesome. They had lions, tigers, bears. Oh my.
Shot with a look similar to the Technicolor used in the 1939 classic, the episode also features songs from Laverne's gospel choir and Ted's a cappella group.
Also, we're no longer called the Worthless Peons. We were sued by a Dutch metal band with the same name. We now go by Foghat.
Again, Ted, busy.
The story's various threads, which are laced with references to the source material, cast JD as Dorothy, trapped at the hospital and trying to get home, Elliot as the Scarecrow, trying to look smart by faking various expertise, Turk as the Tin Man, attempting to convince a man to donate his son's heart for a transplant, and Carla as the Cowardly Lion, coming to terms with her fears over how she relates to children. The episode is a visual and musical masterpiece, and its respective storylines are classic Scrubs medical dramas. And while most of the episodes in season 5 didn't go quite so far with things, My Way Home stands as a prime example of the more ambitious blend of music, visuals, comedy, and drama that the show would be striving for during the rest of its run. Season 5 was also all about change, story-wise, and throughout, we saw the characters in narratives that evolved or expanded them in fundamental ways. It kicks off by literally having JD list off all the changes to the status quo that have occurred since we last saw everyone. JD himself has become an attending physician, while Elliot has moved to a new hospital. Turk and Carla are trying to have a baby, which neither seems particularly ready for, and Dr. Cox and his wife, Jordan, are raising their young son, Jack. JD and Elliot spend the season feeling out their new relationship as friends. Her romance with handsome young intern Keith Dudemeister tests JD's feelings, while he searches for new love and a steady place to live. The ongoing thread expands and deepens JD and Elliot's relationship, laying the groundwork for their dynamic in the seasons to come and setting them on the path to becoming the more mature characters they'll be by the end of the series. By the time the season is over, Turk and Carla manage to conceive, but surprise, surprise, so do Dr. Cox and Jordan, as well as JD and Kim. It was an ending that promised the growth the characters experienced over the season would have lasting consequences. And that was really saying something because season 5 had shown us so many new facets of the show's characters, and not just the two main couples. In My Way Home, the typically surly Cox is humanized in a tender moment where he eases Carla's fear that she hates children by discussing the love he feels for his own son and pointing out that it's different when the kid is your own. It's really just the start for Cox though. Because along with JD, Cox befriends elderly patient Patricia Wilk. After a contamination accident makes her case terminal, the two doctors scramble to fulfill her dying wish to go to the beach by building a makeshift version on the hospital's roof. But Mrs. Wilk only gets to see it once before dying. The storyline culminates in the utterly devastating My 5 Stages, in which Cox and JD jointly navigate the 5 stages of grief. The episode and the season in general bring JD and Cox closer together as friends and as colleagues through this shared trauma. This was all pushed even further by My Lunch and My Fallen Idol, the latter often cited as the best episode of the entire series. Cox pushes for 3 patients to get transplants, resulting in all 3 dying from receiving infected organs from a patient who had an undiagnosed case of rabies. There was no way Cox could have known, but despite previously advising JD that a doctor can't take the death of a patient personally, the incident sends him into an emotional tailspin. He even shows up to work inebriated, which was ultimately his rock bottom, showing JD for the first time that the doctor he idolized was fallible. Cox's friends visit him one by one, trying to ease his conscience, and the normally irritable doctor's heart of gold is laid bare as we see the depth of his suffering. It only comes to an end after JD articulates how he's realized that he idolizes Cox not just for his superhero-like infallibility, but for his deep-rooted humanity. It's a powerful moment that doubles as a sly thematic callback to the show's theme song lyric, "I'm no Superman." And JD's shift in viewpoint changes the audience's relationship to Cox as much as his own. Dr. Bob Kelso, the hospital's chief of medicine, and typically a ruthless a-hole, also gets to show a more human side of himself. My Jiggly Ball gives the audience a rare look at Kelso briefly letting his emotional guard down, revealing a man who hurts more than you'd think over some of the things he has to do as a part of his job. Even Sacred Heart's bizarre janitor is recast in 3 dimensions via a relationship he has with a paralyzed patient who's broken their computer, which is also their sole method of communication. His story 3 sheds some light on how the janitor sees his relationship to the hospital and the difference he makes there.
They don't know how different it would be if I wasn't here.
Hey, Joe.
It's a surprisingly emotional and effective rehabilitation of the character, who often serves as JD's chief nemesis, which ironically takes place while he's holding JD hostage in a water tower. These are just a few highlights, but the fact is, every episode of Season 5 is good. Every storyline in 5 is, at the bare minimum, interesting. No time is wasted and not a single installment comes off feeling like filler, which is a truly incredible thing to say about a season with 24 episodes in it. And it did all of this while being more entertaining than it had ever been or would ever be again.
Eagle! I told you not to call me Lawrence!
And I told you I never get dizzy!
Sitcoms are often purposefully constructed to keep the characters in a type of narrative suspended animation. Allowing characters to change or evolve too much risks upsetting the status quo an audience has grown to love, which ultimately endangers the show's profitability and, as a consequence, its lifespan. But in Season 5, almost every character on Scrubs grows and learns things about themselves. Their personalities are explored and filled out, adding a depth and complexity to their relationships that the show would continue to benefit from for years to come. And even if the end result of that growth in the subsequent seasons never fully lived up to the promise of Season 5, Scrubs chose to break the mold it had established on every front and did for its characters and audience what few sitcoms had done at the time or have done since. It let them grow. So what do you think? Was season 5 the perfect season of Scrubs? And if it wasn't, what was? Let us know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely find others you like if you check out the rest of the channel. As always, thank you for subscribing to Nerdstalgic.